Hey everyone, Aaron Michael Pyne here, and I wanted to talk to you about Odin, the All-Father, Woden, or Woden, like Woden's Day, Wednesday, the ancient divine masculine in Europe, through Norse, through Scandinavia, through Germania, a lot of ancient Norse, ancient European mythologies were woven together before Romans and Christianity came in. And one of the biggest characters, we'll say, in their mythologies, in their stories, in their sagas, in their ceremonies, in their ritual, is Odin, the Allfather, who takes many forms, the Wanderer. He wanders the many realms of existence, the many dimensions, and defeats his foes. He's a warrior, he's a sage, he's a poet, he's a mystic, he's a magician. Our modern day idea of a wizard, much like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, is inspired by Odin. And even Santa Claus, much of the concepts, the frameworks of Santa Claus actually originates from Odin. So, and like I said, Wednesday is Woden's day, and Woden was another name for Odin. Thor is Thor's day. Freya, which is the divine goddess, is Friday. So there's still a lot of, still some pieces of them in our modern society, but much has been lost to modern society, as a lot of early traditions were wiped out or assimilated by Christianity. And so Odin has become, I'll say, an important archetype, important character, important energy for me, particularly over the last year and a half or so. Was around before that in different formats, but really started to become stronger as I needed some additional support, additional guidance, and started to connect in with the deeper layers of myself. And so we've all go through our dark journeys. I've had my dark journeys where I felt compressed, where I felt more sadness, fear, despair, even hopelessness. And it was a contracting feeling, right? And even though I felt like there was something more for me to be living a better way of life, higher potential, higher possibilities, some part of me knew that there was something more. Yet when you're in it, you're in it. When you're in the thing, whether it's relationships, situations, home, work, all those things, and often they're related and they're reflective of what's going on internally. And so we each go through these dark tunnels or our underworlds. And for me, it definitely felt like I was in a version of the underworld. And one of my favorite stories of Odin is how he goes into the underworld to recover the precious mead, the sacred mead. The mead is a gift of the goddess of life, of light. It is honey wine, and definitely check out some of my other offerings around the mead ceremonies where I dive into all the beautiful magic and blessings of that. But for this story, it's a sacred drink of wisdom, of what we might think of enlightenment and awakening, and power and all-knowingness, and fortune and joy. And so basically, long story short, the sacred mead was created through the gods, through dwarves, and was taken to the underworld. And Odin wanted to reclaim this mead, and he had to go into the underworld and had to go through the illusions and the disillusions and the fears. And right, to me, it's almost like the matrix of life, that we all get caught up in different ways where things don't seem to be going right. Things are stressful. There's lots of sadness, fear, and grief, and often we get stuck in the underworld. We get stuck in patterns of limitation. I get stuck in traumas. I get stuck in traumas of expressing myself. Who am I? What am I here to bring to the world? How do I bring it in a bigger way? Traumas around confidence and being confident and strong in our presence, believing in ourselves. And ultimately fears, right? Being afraid in some way, being afraid of that we're not enough, that we're not good enough, that we don't have enough, that the universe won't provide for us. And these are all degraded forms of the truth of reality. Ultimate reality is that we are supported, we are amazing, we are divine beings, we are Odins, we are Freyas. Yet in that underworld that we all have to go through in our own way, we get lost in there. And so Odin goes through and he actually transforms into a snake, which is a symbol of transformation, a symbol of alchemy, And so he goes in through this transformational process in the underworld, has to face all these kind of demons and fears, and eventually connects with these giants, finds the mead, performs a sacred union, which is a whole nother topic I'll go into in my upcoming class about the sacred union within yourself. And then he recovers the precious mead. And when he recovers that, it's like it comes back the wisdom, the truth, the enlightenment. So this story is a reflection of what's possible for us. So I felt like I went through that journey too, where I was in that underworld and finally came and created this union in myself, remembered who I am, revealed myself. Odin in the story also reveals his majesty, his poetry, his eloquence, his gloriousness. And it's like, that's what I felt as I was going through this and also reading the story. Like, oh, I just went through the underworld, and now it's like, I'm time to reveal my glory, recover the precious mead of the nectar of life. And then he transforms into an eagle, this glorious bird, and soars out of the underworld and drops mead into Midgard, the human world. So he's dropping his blessings, he's dropping what he learned, what he garnered from that journey for others to follow suit. And then he makes his way back to Asgard, or Valhalla, the celestial realm, his heavenly abode, his domain. And for me, that's the same thing happened. It's like I went through these dark journeys. Even recently got a beautiful reading from Noah Lakshmi, and saw how the last 7 years, although I was expanding a lot and pushing myself, there was still this overriding, I forget the exact planetary transit that was happening, and maybe Noah will comment. I'll get her to comment on that, but it was definitely like this pressure of a lot of clearing of stuff, a lot of clearing of deep trauma, deep karmic stuff from other lives, and all that was very compressing, very tightening. And through that journey in the underworld, right, you release. I got to release a lot out of my system and open a lot more to who I am and what I'm here for. And I'm, feeling like I'm coming out of that journey, like I've transformed into that eagle. I'm soaring high now, and now I'm bringing these blessings as Odin dropped the mead drops into Midgard. I'm bringing this wisdom through these online webinars and offerings to bring forth this greater healing potential that I carry. Because I've gone on this journey myself, I can more, we'll say, precisely begin to see where people are at in that journey and help them excavate themselves out of the underworld, because it's a dangerous quest. It's a dangerous quest to go in the underworld, and we can get lost in there in different ways. So it's important to have allies, to have mentors, to have guides to help draw us out of the underworld and begin to restore all of who we are and return to our heavenly abode. And I truly believe we each have our own form of our own heavenly abode, our Asgard, our Valhalla, our own sacred temple that's the full expression of who we are. So if you resonate with this and you want to learn more about Odin, again, Odin to me is like this divine masculine, and it's an important part of all of this balancing, whether you're a man or a woman, to reconnect with this higher archetype, higher energy concept of the divine masculine of Odin that was so important to any of us particularly with European roots or European I'll say past life incarnations and connections, to reconnect with that beautiful mystical force in our lives, in our own power and our own sovereignty and our own mastery, again to become that Odin, the All-Father, and to call that into our life. For me, it's been powerful, and it continues to layer and more layers as I understand him more, as I read more of the myths and the legends. He keeps showing up more and more different ways, and there's many beautiful tales about him and his horse Sleipnir, his two wolves, which are basically greed and hunger, his two ravens, which kind of represent aspects of the mind, and then all of his journeys through the different worlds where he has to face different challenges, and then even, I'm not going to go too much right now, but even his connection with Ragnarok, which is explained by scholars as the end of the world, but I see it as more of a unification of the world, and almost in a way a tantra of connecting everything. So lots of magic, lots of mystery there. And for those of you who have followed more in the Hindu path, the yogic path, I'm starting to notice more and more correlations, translations, connections, both the Hindu and also even astrological, the Greek Roman gods, Egyptian gods. So they're all different, but they're also similar. So I've been really feeling called to share this Norse mythology that's, I'll say, a little bit less popular, less well known, and unfortunately a lot of it was lost. A lot of it was written history. So I'm calling this back in for modern awareness, modern life. How do we bring these ancient mysteries and magic back into modern day? So thank you so much for watching. I got a little bit excited there, and there's a lot more to share, and a lot of power and healing that can come forth with this, the magic of Odin, the wizard, which I'd love to be embodying and be part of. So if you haven't, I'd love to see you jump in, check in Monday night, this coming Monday night. I'm going to be doing online Odin healing meditation activation webinar. We're going to be drawing in the power of Odin, and he's a awesome awesome we'll say player, right, in the cosmos. So please jump in. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any connections with Odin. Has he come up in your life in any way? Have you heard about him? What do you know about him? Yeah, it's funny, not too many people know about him as I express this and share this. So let me know what you know about Odin, and hope to see you on the class Monday night. May the All-Father walk with you everywhere. Blessings, lots of love.